12 of them went. 2 of them came back with a good report, but the other 10 disagreed. They spread the bad news. The land we travel through and explore will devour anyone who goes to live there. But Caleb, he had a different attitude. An attitude of faith. When Zeb asked me if I will speak to Odyssey Church, especially one of these services before the main ones, I was like, I don't know what to say. What do I tell these people? So I went to bed, of course, and I had a dream. I had a dream that I was here, standing right here, and that I shared this specific message. And so 2 days after this dream, Zeb called me. He's like, yo, you got a topic? What are you gonna say, And I'm like, Zeb, man, I had a dream about a particular passage, and the message was called an attitude of faith. And I think maybe God's speaking to me, or maybe it was something that I ate. Either way, it was a passage from the Bible, so I call it an attitude of faith. Just to give you a little bit of context, we're going to read a couple of verses here. In Numbers 13:27. The Israelites have been in the desert for about 2 years, and now God tells Moses to send 12 leaders to spy on the promised land. And they come back with a report. These 12 guys, 12 leaders come back to Moses, and this is the reply to Moses. We entered the land you sent us to explore, and it is indeed bountiful country, a land of flowing with milk and honey. Here is the kind of fruit it produces, because they brought the fruit into huge, amazing, beautiful things. But verse 28 says, but the people living there are powerful. Their towns are large and fortified. When we saw giants there, the descendants of the Anak. Verse 30th. But Caleb tried to quiet down the people as they stood before Moses. Let's go at once and take the land, he said. We certainly can conquer it. But verse 31 says, but the other man who had explored the land with him disagreed. They were like, no, homie, you're just crazy. You're just Caleb. This is too hard. And 10 of them agree with this. We can't go up against them. They are stronger than we are. You know how bad news spread really quickly, really fast? They shouted this to the people. They told Moses, and everybody heard in verse 32. So they spread the bad report about the land among the Israelites. The land we travel through and explore will devour anyone who goes to live there. And all the people we saw were huge. Whoa. Imagine this. They left Egypt. They crossed the Red Sea. 2 years into the desert. And now they're so close to the promised land, they can actually go and spy on it. Whoa. That is awesome. We should. I remember before my mom moved to the States and brought us here, we came in a couple of trips and we're like, this country is amazing. We should move here sometime. And have you ever take a peek on something that maybe is the new toy, the new shoes, the new Jordans, if you're Zeb, and you see something, you're like, man, I really saw that, and I really would like to have it. 12 of them went. 2 of them came back with a good report. That was Joshua, and the other one was Caleb. Caleb actually spoke up and said, hey, we should go get it. But the other 10 disagreed. They spread the bad news, a bad report. And you know what happened? The people didn't reject the 10 guys who were negative. They embraced them and said, I think these guys are right. And they lost their minds. They became really, really angry. They cried. They got depressed. Man, they said things like this. Numbers 14:1. Then the whole community began weeping out loud. They cried all night. Their voices rose in a great chorus of protest against Moses and Aaron, against their leaders. Verse 4 says they plotted among themselves and they said, you know what? The problem is our leader. Let's choose a new leader and let's go back to Egypt. The whole community began also to plan how to stone Joshua and Caleb. And that's not the type of stoning I used to do before recovery. This is just, they wanted to murder these guys. They wanted to replace their leader. Go back to Egypt. You know what happened in Egypt? The Pharaoh had ordered to kill all the male babies in the time of Moses. The Pharaoh made them slaves and work even harder for everything that they were being abused and used for. And now they want to go back to that? Just because they heard the bad news, they didn't even see the land themselves. They just believed something that somebody else told them. Wow. But Caleb, he had a different attitude. He had a different attitude. What happens then is, after they plotted to kill Moses and, replace them, and to kill Joshua and Caleb, Moses intervenes and prays to God, and God is like, nope, I'm going to wipe them out. And Moses is like, no, please don't. You are all forgiving God. Let's not do this. And God says, okay, I'll forgive them. I'm not going to send the plague that I was about to send, but they're not going to come into the promised land. They're not going to come in here and enjoy the land that I have for them. Except for the verse that we read at the beginning, in Espanol also, verse 24. It says this, but my servant Caleb had a different attitude than the others have. He has remained loyal to me, so I'll bring him into the land he explored. His descendants will possess their full share of the land. He had a different attitude. Other translations put a different spirit, a different wind, because it's a ruach in Hebrew. It's a different demeanor about how he's looking at things. They saw the same things, but yet they saw them differently. Church is so key for us, especially if we are launching this Odyssey church, to have the right attitude, an attitude of faith, attitude that is confident in God, not in the bad news. Hey, there's a lot of bad news. And I read it, and are you into Reddit? Because I'm a little into Reddit, and sometimes my wife goes to bed, and I'm like still in Reddit, and it's like, I cannot believe what's happening. It's sad, it's difficult, and if I just absorb all this bad news, I start believing that there's no hope, that there's not a way forward, that maybe there's no promised land, that maybe the promises of God are for them but not for me. Like, maybe that's what they were thinking. It's been 2 years, we spy on the land, it's occupied, there's giants, there's cities. God, maybe we misheard you about this thing. Maybe this is not the way we're supposed to do. I understand the discouragement, but Caleb had a different attitude. I want to give you 3 things this morning. 3 things. I need you to take notes. You go with Jesus faster. You're going to be the first in heaven. So take notes. An attitude of faith. An attitude of faith. I got three simple points for you. Are you ready? You're taking notes? You can be on your phone. It's fine. Take notes on your phone. Having an attitude of faith means we fix our eyes on God's promises. We fix our eyes on the promises of God. See, God had promised this land for them. In Exodus 3, 7, and 8, God tells Moses that he will bring Israel out of Egypt into a land flowing with milk and honey. And then 2 years went by. And they were like, where's my milk and where's my honey? My honey is right there. But they were confused. But Caleb was not. And this is so key for me when I saw it. He set his eyes on God's promises and not earthly problems. And we got a choice to make, especially when we're following God in this world. Well, because it's so easy to see the problems, It's so easy to just stare at the problems and not in God's promises. When I was researching this message and I was doing some work, I stumbled across the story of a man named Hudson Taylor. Mr. Hudson Taylor. Anybody know this guy? It's a long beard, man. Yeah, 1865. So he's an old dead man, but his story is amazing. Okay, no, listen up. When he was just 21, anybody 21 in the building? Are you 20, 21 in your 20s? You're 21? No, boy, you look young for 21, sir. He was just 21. He had a passion for missions, and he wanted to spread the gospel, and he wanted to do big things for God. And they had done some missions to China, some other missionaries, but nobody had done inland missions. And he's like, I want to do it. I'm going to do it. I believe God. God is calling me to this thing. And he left England, and people were like, Brother Hudson, how do we tell you this? Just don't do it. It's too hard. We're not going to give you any money, Brother Hudson. We're not going to support this missionary thing. At 21 years old, he left England in 1854. All the missionaries at the time stayed in the coast. They didn't go inland. People said he was foolish. He was too young and reckless. That it couldn't be done. Someone even called him mad. He's just a little, cuckoo. He's just a little mad. At times he left to do his mission work with no financial support, zero money. Mula, nothing, nada. But yet he did it. And he's famous. He's got a lot of famous quotes. But this is one that I chose because it really, really impacted me on how he saw things. There's 3 stages in every great work of God. First, it is impossible. Then, it is difficult. But then it is done. Whoa. I read that and I had fire in my heart. I was like, first it's impossible. When Zeb was telling me the idea of this Odyssey church and all this stuff, and I was like, whoo. Wow, okay. You go, buddy. And now seeing you guys here and seeing it done, and I Googled churches in Renton, churches in Tequila, and Odyssey Church is the first one that show up. And I'm like, whoa, I actually captured some screenshots that I was going to text it to you. But I was like, let's not encourage him too much right now. Maybe later. Maybe, yeah. And I was like, this is actually happening. This is amazing. At first, it seems impossible. Then it is hard. It's hard to show up at 7 a.m, hungry, tired. Maybe you didn't shower to get here. And it's a little difficult, but then it is done. And then you see people getting saved and people coming in for the first time who left the church because they were hurt. Now they're first coming back because they saw you and they want hope. And then it's your neighbor who finally decided to be like, I want to go with you to church. And you're like, seriously? You want to come to church? Yeah. And then they hear the gospel and they get saved. And my goodness, what would have happened if this guy didn't go to the inland mission in China? I'll tell you what happened 10 years later, about 10 years after he decided to do this. In 1865, he founded the China Inland Mission. By the time of his death, he had sent over 800 missionaries, started 125 schools, and reached millions with the gospel. Just because he put his eyes on the promises of God, on the word that God is calling him to do, and not the discouragement of his peers, the news, the difficulty, the fact that the language was so different. He also famously said, God's work done God's way will never lack God's provision. And I want to encourage you, church, Odyssey Church. Maybe you're here for the first time and you're part of something like this. Hey, God's work done God's way with faith, trusting Him, with hope, being courageous will never lack God's provision. And that beats either. Yeah. Having an attitude of faith. Caleb had this attitude. They saw the same fruits. They saw the same land. They saw the same people, but they saw them differently. Let me do a little quick experiment. Ready? Boom. All right, let's check this out. I want you to find something in the wall that you can stare at. Maybe it's a flag. Maybe it's a little something, a scratch on the wall. Find something on the wall that you can stare at. Ready? Go. I'm finding my thing. And just stare at it. You can see what's around you, like the people around you, the chair around you, maybe me. But your eyes are focused on that thing. And that's what's most important. Maybe you're aware of what's going on, but then your eyes are fixed. Your eyes are concentrated. Not on that beat, but on the thing that you're looking at. That's amazing. That's what Hebrews will tell us. Hey, fix your eyes on Jesus. It doesn't mean that you ignore everything that's happening. Maybe your marriage is in difficulty. Maybe your kids are driving you. It's difficult right now. They're rebellious. Maybe they left home. Maybe financial strain. It's not that you're not aware, but that is not your focus. That's having an attitude of faith. faith doesn't change what you see. Because we still see the same problems, same difficulties. But it changes how we see it. It changes how we see things. When you come to church, don't look at the difficult things about it. Change the way you see it. This is an opportunity. Caleb said, this is an opportunity. In fact, we're going to go to point number 2, but Caleb is like, let's go. Let's go get it. Let me ask you, where are you putting your eyes? Where are your eyes right now? Is it on the bad news? On a bad report from the doctor? Where are your eyes? What are you obsessing about? Is it Jesus and His Word and His promises? Or is it the early things? Challenges, complications, difficulties, they're always going to be here with us. But what changes is the way we look at them, all right? That's having an attitude of Caleb, an attitude of faith. Number 2, you ready? We're going quick. This is good. I'm encouraging myself. Caleb also not only had a different attitude, he spoke courage. We speak courage. Having an attitude of faith means that we speak courage, not fear. Numbers 13:30 says, but Caleb tried to quiet the people as they stood before Moses, and he just shouted, let's go at once to take the land. He said, we can certainly conquer it. We can do this. I love this about Caleb because I love this about Zeb. Zeb is the type of person, it's like a let's go guy, Zeb, but how we're going to fly, man? I don't understand. We'll figure it out on our way down, brother. We're going to fly first, and then we're going to figure out how we got there. Zeb is like a let's go man, I love that attitude about him. He's ready. Zeb, how are you going to do this, Caleb? Or Zeb, He doesn't say how they're going to do it. He just said, we're going to do it. We're just going to go do it. Because He doesn't depend on us. We have the backing of Almighty God behind us in His favor and grace. His Word is powerful. He's called us to this thing. We're going to bring light into the darkness. Woo! That's some of the greatest joys of working with Zeb was that particular attitude. We will have a challenge. We will have something that we're going to work on. And he's just like, let's go do it. And I'm more like, yes, but how we're going to do it? You feel the same way, yeah? Yeah. It doesn't matter how we do it because it could change. The hows always change. But the why we're doing this Odyssey, because our world needs us. Man, you hear all the news. You're aware of it. I'm aware of it. And that's just more of an indication that we need the gospel of Jesus to be spread. You guys need to talk to your neighbors, your friends. Hey, just be here on the 5th. Just come check it out. Because please, I'll buy you lunch. Something. Come here. Come see what God is doing. We're starting this brand new church. It's called Odyssey. Has the coolest name ever. Has great branding. Come check out. Maybe it will be a message that could encourage you. Talk to your neighbors, to your friends. Talk to strangers. Uber drivers, Lyft, restaurants. Invite them to church. Let's spread this gospel, man. He said, let's go for it. And so does every man in the Bible. Every hero of the Bible spoke with courage. This is courage. That's the right word. If you hear my accent, that's the Colombian in me. But David didn't say how he was going to defeat Goliath. He just said, hey, this guy's coming against God and His people. Oh, I got God with me. I come to you against in the name of the Lord. David did it. Peter did it. He preached with courage because he got faith and trust in God. Jesus did it when he faced death. They were all men of courage. They were all men of faith. A heart full of faith produces a voice full of courage. Our world needs courage, needs courageous people. Not in ourselves. It's not, Caleb said, I'm going to do it. No. God will do it because God promised it. It's not about who we are and our qualifications. It's about what God can do through a sinner like me, a sinner like you, broken people. So let me ask you, what are you speaking? First, we talk about what are you seeing. Now, what are your words? Are your words of encouragement that give courage? that built up your team, or voices of discouragement like the other 10 people who were discouraging everybody around them? It's so important because out of what's in our heart, the mouth speaks. If your heart is full of faith, your voice will be full of courage. If in our families, I need to be a voice of faith to my kids, to my Aslan, to my Cairo, to my Remy, the next one, and like 5 more. The Bible says, feel the earth. And I took that literally, I'm like, I'm going to do that. All right. Maybe you came to church greatly discouraged. You're like, David, I think this is my last Sunday at church, man. This is, my last Sunday serving at Odyssey. I tried it. It was kind of cool. I got a free t-shirt. Coffee's good. Coffee's really good, actually. I'm just like, and you're just discouraged. Not because nothing anybody did, but because your focus, because of your heart is just full of discouragement. I came to encourage you today. We got a choice to make. It's an attitude. It's a spirit. It's a wind. And we drag people with it. We can drag people to faith, or we can drag people to discouragement, unbelief, sin. My goodness. Don't give up on what God has called you to do, on the ways He wants to use you. He wants to use every single one of you. Maybe it's the first time at church. Maybe it's your 10th time. Maybe you grew up in church. He still wants to use you. You just have to have courage. Like Hudson Taylor, like Jesus, like David, like Zeb. This is a courageous man. When he was telling me how much things are costing, I'm like, oh boy, that is a man of courage. And how are you going to do this? I don't know. But man, I admire that so much of him. You guys got a good leader. A good leader, the bishop too. She's just so simple. She's just riding the wave. I love it. I really do what you guys, and the team, you guys, the whole team, because it's a team effort, yeah? Give it for yourselves. Be here every Sunday. Be here, connect with the fellows, pray, because your mind starts to change, to shift. Your problems are big, my God is small. My problems are big, my God is small. And all of a sudden, no, my God is big. He's powerful. My problems are little for Him. Your perspective changes, but you need to be surrounded with people of faith. You're right? And number 3, ready? Number 3, an attitude of faith. We talked about why we see, we believing God's promises. We talked about being a voice of courage. And number 3, we move forward. We move forward. Kelsey was sharing with me an example of the faith journey, the Odyssey of faith. And it's usually like a down escalator, an electric escalator that is going down. And we're going up. And we got to really put our effort and keep moving forward, because if we just stay still, we cannot keep moving forward. If we stay still, if we don't pray, if we don't seek God, if we don't get in community, we just drift. No, let's not be a community of drifters. Let's be a community of people who walk with faith. Move forward. Numbers 14:4 says that the Israelites said, let's choose a new leader. Obviously, we all want to change our leaders, isn't that? All right, we think other people are the problem, not us. Let's change the leader. The coffee's not good. Let's replace Sev, and Leah. Let's put somebody else. Let's put David in charge. No, don't do that. And not only do we want to change our leaders, we want to change the destination. Let's go back to Egypt, where we were slaves and we were suffering and our families were in great difficulty and the Egyptians were killing us. Yeah, let's go back to that place. No, and Caleb was not like this. Let's go back to Egypt? Seriously, guys? Caleb is like, shh. No, let's go, and I'm sure if we go, we'll conquer it. Let's move forward. I'm ready to change the chapter in my life, change the things that I'm doing. I'm ready to go all in with God and Jesus and really truly believe what He's got for me. And I remember when we first moved to the States, my parents split. They divorced when I was about 12. We moved to the States around age 14. I did not know any English. All right, zero, nada. I just speak Spanish. And I wanted to go back. Like, I don't know this culture and the people and the GPA and the SATs and the STDs and all this stuff. I don't get it. Why do we do everything in 3 little words, three letters? I didn't know. What is a GPA? I remember a kid asking me, what's your GPA? I'm like, I have no idea. My mom cried many, many times because when we first moved, we had no money, we had no resources, we had to sleep on the floor with a pillow, no blanket. Then we lost where we were living, and a woman from church was like really generous and said, I have a garage. You want to live? We moved to a garage in Florida. No AC, just sweating. 1 bed for my mom, my sister, and I. No car. Take the bus everywhere. Completely broke. Actually, I remember Christmases where we had no gifts. We had a tree that was donated to us, but no gifts. Zero. No gifts. And my mom I saw her crying many times, like, maybe we should go back. But she wanted to bring us here because she thought maybe you guys have a better future here than what we have over there. Eating 49 cents Maruchan, the little soups in the microwave for days. Like, I'm not just once, because you want noodles. No. That was like my daily bread. Gave us God our daily soup because that's all we had. And my mom contemplated many times leaving. But she met God here. I'm over time. Okay. And I did too. And I often wonder, what if she had gone back? What if instead pushing forward in faith, not knowing anything, not knowing anybody, she just still doesn't know the language fully. What if he had gone back? I don't think I'll be here. Definitely not married to Kelsey. Definitely not serving God because I was in the wrong path, going the wrong way. And I just want to encourage you. Man, believe God's promises. Speak courage. Take your right next step forward. Maybe serving. Maybe you've never served at church. And this is God nudging you. Come on, you got to use your gifting. I give you arms and legs. Just greet people. Or just put chairs. Or you have a gift for singing and you've never said that to anybody. Come on, take a step forward. Go get it. Go do it. Every time I wanted to quit it, my mom wanted to quit, God showed up right before it to tell us, I have so much for you, don't do it. Just don't quit yet. Don't quit before the miracle, we say in recovery. Just hold on a little tighter. What if you go back? What if you go back to what you were doing? What if I go back to what I was doing? I will lose the promises of God for me. Remember this last verse. God speaks to Moses and says, but my servant Caleb will come into the promised land because he has a different spirit, different attitude. He's remained loyal to me, and he's going to enjoy the promised land. The promises of God are available to all of us, but it's our choice to get them in faith. Hebrews 12:1, and this is the last verse, and I'm going to pray for you guys. Let us run. Odyssey, you guys are running till October 5th. Come on, run with perseverance the race marked out for us, fixing our eyes on Jesus, the pioneer of Odyssey Church, the perfecter of our faith. Because this is what he did. He did exactly that. For the joy set before him, he knew the joy of salvation to the nations. He endured the cross, the difficulty, scorning its shame. He sat down at the right hand of the throne of God. Have that attitude of faith.